Fellow Stoic, they never wanted you to know this. Your greatest enemy is a weak version of yourself. It's time to kill it and rise into your full power. They have spent your whole life making you comfortable, telling you that it's okay to take it easy, that you have time, that you don't need to push yourself too hard. They have made weakness normal, even desirable. They want you addicted to distractions, stuck in bad habits, waiting for the right moment to change. And all the while, the weak version of you grows stronger, feeding on your procrastination, your doubts, your excuses. This is the version of you that holds you back. It whispers that you are not ready, that discipline is too difficult, that comfort is better than challenge. But deep down, you already know the truth. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world, it is against yourself. The weak version of you must die so that the strongest version of you can emerge. This is not a slow transformation. This is war. A Stoic knows that greatness is not given. It is earned through struggle, through discipline, through the death of all that is weak within them. Today, you take your first step in that battle. In this video, you will discover the mindset shifts that will eliminate weakness, the hidden traps that have been keeping you stuck, and the daily practices that will forge an unstoppable mind. If you are ready to kill the old you and rise into your full strength, hit that like button and comment yes. Because by the end of this video, you will understand why they never wanted you to discover this power. The illusion of comfort. They told you that life should be easy, that happiness comes from eliminating struggle, avoiding pain, and making yourself as comfortable as possible. They fed you the idea that success should feel effortless, that discipline is unnecessary, and that you should follow whatever feels good in the moment. And for a while, you believed them. You stayed in bed a little longer, skipped the workout, put off that difficult conversation, indulged in distractions to avoid discomfort. It felt harmless, just small choices, momentary lapses. But then you woke up one day and realized you were stuck. You looked at your life and saw weakness where there should have been strength. You saw hesitation where there should have been action. You saw a version of yourself that was smaller, softer, more fragile than the person you were meant to become. And now, something deep inside of you is screaming that enough is enough. Because you know that comfort hasn't been saving you, it's been suffocating you. Comfort is a slow poison. It doesn't kill you instantly, it weakens you over time. It steals your potential one compromise at a time. Every moment spent avoiding difficulty is a moment spent building weakness. And weakness always has a price. You felt it before, when you avoided a challenge only to realize later that you had missed an opportunity. When you gave into laziness and felt that sinking regret of knowing you could have done better. When you stayed in your comfort zone while others pushed themselves forward, and suddenly you were left behind. This is how weakness takes hold. It disguises itself as peace, but it leads to powerlessness. And if you don't fight back, it will take everything from you. This is what they never wanted you to understand. Because the moment you realize that comfort is your true enemy, you become unstoppable. The Stoics understood this truth centuries ago. They knew that comfort is not a reward, it is a test. Marcus Aurelius warned against this when he wrote, "You love yourself too much. That is why you shrink from hardship." He knew that comfort makes people soft, complacent, fragile, and that the only way to avoid this fate is to deliberately seek out discomfort. Seneca reinforced this when he said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials." That is why the Stoics trained themselves through hardship. They fasted to prove to themselves that they could endure hunger. They slept on the floor to remind themselves that they did not need luxury. They exposed themselves to the cold, to pain, to difficulty, not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they knew that strength must be built. They understood what most people refuse to accept, that the more you challenge yourself, the less life's challenges will shake you. And something shifts the moment you start living this way. You begin to notice that things that once felt impossible now feel manageable. The workout you dreaded becomes something you crave. The difficult conversation you avoided is now handled with confidence. The tasks that once overwhelmed you are now just another part of your routine. You stop flinching at discomfort because you've trained yourself to handle it. And suddenly, the world begins to open up to you. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach become accessible. People start to respect you in ways they never did before. And most importantly, you respect yourself. Because now, you are no longer ruled by weakness. You have built something unbreakable inside of you. This is why the weak version of you must die. The one that clings to comfort, that avoids struggle, that chooses the easy path every time. That version of you is the only thing standing between where you are now and the strongest version of yourself. And you have a choice. You can keep making excuses, keep delaying your potential, keep letting comfort steal your strength. Or you can step into discomfort willingly, knowing that every moment of struggle is sharpening you, forging you, turning you into the person you were meant to be. Comfort is not your ally. It is your enemy. And today, you declare war on it. Comment comfort if you are ready to break free from the illusion they built to keep you weak. Up next, we attack the mindset that has been poisoning you from the inside, destroying the victim mentality. At some point, they convinced you that life was unfair and that your struggles were not your fault. They told you that the reason you were stuck, frustrated, or falling behind was because of something outside of your control, bad luck, other people, an unfair system. And you believed it, because blaming something external feels good. It gives you relief, an excuse to stay where you are. You look at others who seem to have it easier and think, if only I had their opportunities, their advantages, their luck, I would be successful too. But deep down, you know the truth. The problem is not the world. The problem is not them. The problem is a part of you that has been conditioned to believe you are powerless. And that part of you must die. Because the moment you stop blaming others, the moment you stop making excuses, the moment you take full ownership of your life, that is the moment you take your power back. But here's why most people never break free from a victim mindset. It is addictive. It feels good to say, I would be further ahead if only I had more support, more time, more resources. It feels good to believe that life is unfair, that you are the product of circumstances beyond your control. It absolves you of responsibility. It allows you to sit back and wait for things to change instead of taking action. But here's the harsh reality. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to fix your problems for you. And the longer you wait for the world to be fair, the longer you will stay exactly where you are. Every excuse you make, every complaint you hold on to, every time you blame someone else for your struggles, you are giving away your power. And that is exactly what they want. Because a person who believes they are a victim is easy to control. But a person who takes full responsibility for their life, that person is dangerous. That person is unstoppable. This is why the Stoics rejected the victim mindset entirely. Epictetus, who was born into slavery, had every reason to complain, to blame the world for his suffering. But he didn't. Instead, he embraced the one truth that separates the weak from the strong. No one has the power to control your mind unless you let them. He taught that while we may not control what happens to us, we always control how we respond. He said, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Imagine the strength of that mindset. Imagine the power of a man who had nothing, who had every reason to be bitter, yet refused to let circumstances dictate his destiny. That is what you must become. A person who does not waste time complaining, who does not look to the world for answers, but who looks only within. Because once you master your response to life, you become untouchable. And when you start living this way, you will see changes almost immediately. The people around you who still live in a victim mindset will start to sound different to you. You will notice how often they complain, how often they blame, how often they avoid taking responsibility. And instead of joining them, you will feel something new, pity, because now you see the truth. Now, you understand that every moment spent complaining is a moment wasted. Now, you know that blaming others is distraction from doing the work. And the more you take responsibility for your own life, the more control you gain. You start to act instead of waiting. You start to solve problems instead of dwelling on them. You stop seeing yourself as powerless, and suddenly everything shifts. Opportunities appear where you once saw obstacles. Strength emerges where you once felt weak. Because when you remove the victim mindset, what remains is a person who is truly free. This is why today is a day you let go of every excuse that has ever held you back. No more blaming your past. No more complaining about what isn't fair. No more waiting for someone else to change your circumstances. From this moment on, everything is your responsibility. Every failure, every mistake, every challenge, it is all yours to own. And that is the best news you will ever hear. Because if it is your responsibility, it means you have the power to change it. It means nothing outside of you can stop you. It means you are in complete control of your future. And that is what they fear the most. Comment power if you refuse to live as a victim any longer. And stay with me, because next, we will forge a discipline that will make you unshakable. Now, we have shattered two of the biggest lies that have kept you weak. But there is more. What comes next is what separates those who truly become unstoppable from those who remain stuck in weakness. If you are serious about this transformation, subscribe right now, share this video, and click the super thanks button to support. Because the next step is the key to mastering your mind and body. Stoic discipline, becoming unshakable. There have been days where you told yourself you would start tomorrow. Days where you had a plan. Wake up early, work out, study, build something meaningful. But the moment comfort whispered in your ear, you listened. You told yourself that one more hour of sleep wouldn't hurt. That skipping one workout, one task, one discipline wouldn't make a difference. But then one day became two. Two became a week became a habit. And before you knew it, you had built a life around postponing your potential. You felt it in your mind, in your body, in your spirit. That heaviness, that frustration, that quiet, nagging regret of knowing you could be stronger, sharper, better, but you aren't. And now, something inside of you is waking up. Something inside of you is done making excuses. Because the truth is, without discipline, you are nothing. No knowledge, no philosophy, no wisdom will save you if you do not have the discipline to apply it. This is why so many people remain weak. They convince themselves that discipline is something you either have or you don't. That some people are naturally motivated while others simply aren't built for it. But that is a lie. The real reason people lack discipline is not because they are incapable, but because they have been conditioned to believe that weakness is acceptable, that giving in is normal, that quitting is just part of life. But a Stoic knows the truth. Weakness is not a condition, it is a choice. And strength is also a choice. Every single day, you are presented with that choice. Do you wake up with intention, or do you hit snooze? Do you push through discomfort, or do you retreat into comfort? Do you take control of your mind and body, or do you allow them to control you? These small, seemingly insignificant choices are the foundation of who you become. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build up your life action by action, and be satisfied if each action achieves its goal as far as possible." He understood that strength is not built in grand moments, but in the small, daily decisions that no one sees. The Stoics treated discipline as sacred because they knew that every day was a test. Would they control their impulses, or would their impulses control them? Would they train their minds and bodies, or would they let them decay? Seneca said, "No person is more unhappy than one who never faces adversity, for they are not permitted to prove themselves." This is why they trained themselves relentlessly. They fasted, not because they had to, but because they refused to be slaves to hunger. They exercised not for vanity, but because they knew a weak body creates a weak mind. They followed strict routines, knowing that a chaotic life leads to a chaotic mind. They understood that discipline is freedom, the freedom to act with power, to live without regret, to meet any challenge with unshakable strength. And when you start living with discipline, the results are undeniable. The mind fog disappears. The hesitation, the doubt, the sluggishness, it all fades. You wake up with clarity, with drive, with purpose. You no longer fear discomfort because you have trained yourself to thrive in it. When others crumble under pressure, you remain steady. When others look for excuses, you look for solutions. And people notice. They see the way you carry yourself, the quiet confidence, the sharp focus, the energy that comes from a life built on control rather than chaos. Discipline makes you different. It sets you apart. It makes you someone they cannot manipulate, cannot control, cannot break. Because a disciplined mind and body are unshakable. This is why weakness must be eliminated at the root. It is not enough to simply want to be disciplined. You must train discipline like a warrior trains for battle. You must wake up each day and make the choice to master yourself. There is no easy way. There is no shortcut. But there is power in knowing that the struggle itself is a reward. That every moment you resist weakness, you are forging a stronger version of yourself. And that version of you, that is a person who will accomplish what others only dream of. That is a person who will rise while others remain stagnant. That is a person who, years from now, will look back and know that they did not waste their potential, that they took control of their life and became something greater. So now, the choice is yours. Do you continue making excuses? Do you continue postponing your strength, your success, your future? Or do you decide right now that discipline is not something you will try? It is something you will become. Comment discipline if you refuse to let weakness rule you any longer. Because next, we cut out the habits that are holding you back. Cutting off weak habits. You wake up every day with the best intentions. You tell yourself that the day will be different, that you'll be productive, disciplined, and focused. But then, the first distraction comes. You reach for your phone, telling yourself you'll just check something quickly. Minutes turn into hours, and suddenly, half the day is gone. You plan to work out, but you put it off until later, and later never comes. You wanted to start that project, read that book, or build that skill, but somehow the hours slip through your fingers. And at the end of the day, you feel it. The weight of wasted time, the frustration of knowing that you could have done more, been better, been stronger. But instead, weakness won. And the worst part? This cycle isn't new. It has been repeating itself for weeks, months, maybe even years. It's not just one bad decision. It's a pattern, a set of habits that are slowly, silently, and steadily making you weaker. And here's the harsh truth. Weak habits do not just delay success. They destroy it. They erode your confidence, your discipline, your ability to take action. The more you indulge them, the harder they are to break. Every time you give in to procrastination, you reinforce the idea that it's acceptable. Every time you let distraction consume you, you weaken your focus. Every time you avoid discomfort, you make it harder to face challenges in the future. It's a slow, gradual decay. At first, you barely notice it. But over time, you wake up and realize that you are not the person you were meant to be. Not because life stopped you, not because someone else held you back, but because you let small, weak habits rule your life. And this is exactly what they want. They want you addicted to distractions, numbed by entertainment, avoiding real work. Because a person ruled by their habits is easy to predict, easy to control, and easy to keep small. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Seneca warned against the danger of indulging in pleasure at the cost of self-mastery, saying, "He who indulges in empty pleasures soon loses the ability to enjoy real ones." Every weak habit you hold on to is making you weaker in ways you don't even realize. That daily scrolling, it's training your mind to crave quick dopamine instead of real achievement. That laziness you justify, it's stealing your ability to push through discomfort. That avoidance of discipline, it's making you fragile, easily overwhelmed by life's smallest challenges. And if you don't stop these habits at the root, they will consume you. The Stoics believe that life is a battle against our lower instincts, and habits are the weapons in that war. If you allow weak habits to remain, they will kill your potential. But if you forge strong habits, routines built on discipline, focus, and action, you become unstoppable. And here is the most powerful shift. Once you start cutting weak habits, everything begins to change. The fog that once clouded your mind starts to lift. The tiredness that came from wasted days disappears. You wake up with clarity, with direction, with purpose. Instead of reaching for distractions, you reach for progress. Instead of putting things off, you handle them immediately. And people notice. They see the difference in your energy, in your focus, in the way you move through life. Opportunities begin to appear because you are no longer wasting time. You are owning it. Weakness stops being an option, and suddenly you become the person others look to for strength. Because discipline breeds confidence, and confidence breeds power. But none of this happens by accident. You must actively kill the habits that are making you weak. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, identify them. The mindless scrolling, the wasted hours, the skip workouts, the avoidance of discomfort. Whatever is stealing your strength, cut it off, burn it, remove it from your life with the same intensity that you would remove poison from your body, because that is exactly what weak habits are. They are poison. They are slowly killing the strongest version of you, and you cannot afford to let them remain. The battle begins now. Comment cut IT if you are ready to eliminate the habits that are making you weak. Because in the final section, we bring everything together to forge the strongest version of you. You have made it this far, but now comes a final challenge. The last and most powerful shift that will make you truly unstoppable. Becoming your strongest self. There was a time when you lived unconsciously, moving through life without a clear sense of direction. You woke up each morning feeling the weight of time slipping away, frustrated with yourself for not taking action, for not becoming the person you knew you were meant to be. But something inside of you has changed. Maybe it was a realization, a breaking point, a moment of clarity where you saw your weakness for what it truly was, an illusion, a comfort you could no longer afford. And now, there's no turning back. The weak version of you is dying, and in its place, something stronger is emerging. This is not just a shift in thinking. This is a declaration of war against everything that has been holding you back. Because from this moment forward, hesitation is no longer an option. Complaints have no place here. Excuses are dead. The only thing that remains is action. But action is not easy. The world will test you. You will wake up tired. You will face obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. The temptation to slip back into old habits will be there, waiting for you. The weak version of you will try to claw its way back, whispering in your ear that you should take it easy, that discipline is too hard, that you can always start tomorrow. But a Stoic does not listen to the voice of weakness. A Stoic understands that every day is a battle, not against the world, but against the self. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for?" This is a mindset that separates the strong from the weak. The strong know that discipline is not about feeling motivated. It is about doing what must be done, no matter what. Because true power does not come from waiting until you feel ready. It comes from choosing to act even when you don't feel like it. And this is exactly why you have been tested. Every struggle, every setback, every moment of doubt was not meant to break you. It was meant to forge you. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does a body." Your hardships were not punishments. They were preparation. The adversity you have faced was life's way of sharpening you, making you resilient, making you someone who does not crumble under pressure. This is what the Stoics understood better than anyone. The strongest version of you is built through challenge, through resistance, through pushing past the limits of what you once thought was possible. And now, you see it clearly. The suffering, the struggles, the difficulties, they were not obstacles in your way. They were the way. Every hardship was a lesson. Every failure was a test. And you are still standing, stronger, wiser, ready. And now, something incredible happens. The things that once scared you no longer hold power over you. The fears that used to paralyze you now excite you because you see them for what they are, opportunities to grow. You wake up with clarity, with a sense of purpose that cannot be shaken. You move through life differently. People notice the change in you, your presence, your energy, the quiet confidence of someone who no longer hesitates, no longer complains, no longer gives into weakness. You start attracting challenges instead of avoiding them. You start thriving in situations where you used to crumble. And suddenly, everything in your life begins to shift because you are no longer waiting for things to change. You are changing them. You are no longer hoping for strength. You are building it. But this is not the end of the journey. This is only the beginning. Because strength is not something you achieve once. It is something you must earn every day. A Stoic does not reach a point of success and then stop. They continue to test themselves, to sharpen their discipline, to push their limits. Because the moment you stop challenging yourself is the moment weakness starts creeping back in. So now, you must make a decision. Will you continue down this path, forging the strongest version of yourself with every action, every habit, every decision? Or will you allow yourself to slip back into comfort, into hesitation, into the version of you that you have worked so hard to leave behind? The choice is yours. And every day, every moment, you must choose again. Comment "I am Stoic" if you refuse to go back to the weak version of yourself. If you are ready to embody strength, discipline, and resilience, not just in words, but in action. Subscribe, share this video, and step fully into the person you were meant to become. Because this is your time. And nothing will stop you. They never wanted you to wake up. In a world that thrives on quiet conformity and comfortable lies, you have chosen to see past the illusions that keep you locked in a cycle of self-doubt and complacency. Imagine the soft light of early morning gradually overcoming the darkness of a sleepless night. In that moment, you realize that the shadows which once concealed your true strength are simply obstacles meant to be overcome. Your journey begins with a single step, a step away from the weak version of yourself that was molded by fear and inaction. Every day that you rise with the awareness that weakness is a choice is a day closer to the true, unshackled version of you. This awakening is not a fleeting moment of clarity, but a profound shift in perspective that forces you to confront the truth with courage and determination. The battle you face is not one fought with sword or shield, but with the mind and heart. It is a struggle against the persistent whispers of self-doubt, the internal voice that insists on retreat rather than advance. Yet, it is in this very battle that you discover the raw, unfiltered potential of your being. As you stand at the crossroads of life, consider the words of a lesser-known Stoic, who once remarked that trials are the anvil upon which our true selves are forged. In the furnace of hardship, every trial refines you, chiseling away at the layers of mediocrity until only your genuine strength remains. This process is not immediate. It is a slow and deliberate transformation that calls upon you to embrace every setback as a lesson, every fall as an opportunity to rise with greater resilience. As you move forward, visualize your daily struggles as a storm that cleanses the air, leaving behind a freshness that nourishes the soul. There is beauty in the turmoil, a lesson in every clash of thunder. When you look back at the moments of despair, you will see that they were not the end, but rather the beginning of your evolution. Stoic wisdom teaches us that external events are beyond our control, but our responses to them shape our destiny. In the same way that the rough sea carved the coastline over time, your persistent efforts and unwavering resolve are slowly but surely shaping a new, indomitable spirit within you. The transformation is not marked by grand gestures, but by the quiet persistence of everyday decisions to rise, to fight, and to believe in your worth. In the quiet moments of reflection, you may recall the words of Epictetus, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." These words echo through the corridors of time, reminding you that true power lies in the choices you make every day. Consider a painter who starts with a blank canvas. Each brushstroke, whether bold or subtle, contributes to a masterpiece that captures the essence of the artist's vision. Your life is much like that canvas. Every challenge you face, every hardship you endure, adds depth and texture to the portrait of your existence. The weak version of you is merely the outline, a sketch that must be refined and reshaped through deliberate action and thoughtful reflection. With every sunrise, you are given a fresh opportunity to fill in the details with colors of courage, wisdom, and compassion. The struggle to discard old habits and embrace a stronger self is not without pain. The journey demands sacrifice and persistence. It calls for an honest evaluation of your inner landscape, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths that you once preferred to ignore. Yet, in this confrontation, you find an unexpected ally, the Stoic idea that adversity is a teacher, a mentor that guides you towards self-mastery. When the weight of the world seems too heavy to bear, remember that even the mightiest oak tree was once a fragile acorn. It is through persistent effort and the acceptance of your own vulnerabilities that you can break free from confines of mediocrity and embrace a life of profound purpose. Every challenge you encounter is an invitation to grow. There is a unique power in acknowledging that your weakness is not an immutable state but a choice that you can change with each moment of mindful decision. Think of a blacksmith whose hammer strikes the red-hot metal repeatedly until it transforms into a blade capable of withstanding the harshest tests. In your own life, every difficult experience is a strike that tempers your resolve and hones your inner strength. As you navigate the maze of life, let the echoes of Stoic insights guide you. Draw strength from the understanding that the battle is not external, it is fought within the recesses of your own heart and mind. And in that internal arena, the quiet victories over doubt and fear are the most significant wins of all. They never wanted you to wake up. They never wanted you to realize that weakness is a choice. But now, you see the truth. The battle is yours to fight, and you will win. Comment "I am Stoic" if you are ready to kill the weak version of yourself and step into your true strength. Subscribe, share this video, and begin your transformation now.